Good afternoon, everyone, and I believe you are all enjoying the exhibition. And we have some very, very delightful talks from the previous speakers, setting the real show of building the experience and driven by the innovation. So my talk is primarily on how do you innovate to excel, and what is the future of innovation is all about. Is there any kind of a framework available? Is there any kind of a change in the mindset is required? Is there any kind of an approach which is required? Let's try to investigate this and try to understand what is the future of innovation which will really drive the excellence. We have heard from Progeny about how experience can really transform the industry, which is indeed the need of the hour. Today, when you're trying to talk about such kind of a physical experiences to be provided, jointly, if you want to scale, you also need to look at how you can scale your entire thought process in scaling and reaching more audience through the different streams. And that's where the digital DNA comes in. So with that thought, let's try to understand the cause why innovations fail in the organizations. The first and foremost thing which normally happens within the industry is you see that innovations happen at pieces, basically in isolation. They do not connect with each other. It's of the brilliance of the individuals innovations are driven. But any pocket of innovations which happen which does not link to the business strategy is bound to fail. And it is very important you should continuously link your innovation to the business and align with that. And we see that lack of alignment create that kind of a failure on a consistent basis. And there is also a very much need that you should link your innovations with the cross-industry participation, different domains participating together and make a bigger impact. So understanding these failures, because the root causes, if you know exactly where actually the innovations are failing, you really know how do you try to tackle that. It's very important to link these things together. Why do we need innovation? We have seen over the period of time the agriculture innovations which really driven the change in the entire place. The electricity-driven innovation, internet-driven innovation. Today, we are living in the ecosystem of fourth industrial revolution where digital revolutions, internet of everything is happening. So idea is all about generating the innovation is to commercialize and create new revenue models. If your innovation is not able to create value to your customers, create experience to your customers, it is not going to generate new revenue for you. Your bottom line still goes down. So if you're looking at innovation, it's about a value creation and value capture. When you try to bring these things together, then you are able to see that it is not a philosophy, it's not a function, but it is more about a business process which is inculcated as part of the overall journey. The more important aspect is innovation should be understood as a kind of a continuous way of looking at the things, continuous way of understanding the trends, continuous way of looking at obtaining the feedback from the customer pulse, which will help you to create new revenue opportunities, new streams to be focused at, and also look at how you can improve your bottom line. That will really trigger the change and improve your competitive landscape. Even in the exhibition industry, you see a lot of competition do exist. You need to create a differentiated experiences which can make you better. I just want to draw your attention to one of the types of the innovations today. If you are trying to talk about innovation, there are different types. Some people say, you heard about Jugaad innovations. Probably you might have seen a lot of things where you have a very little amount of resources and people try to maneuver with that particular resources and try to perform better things. So Jugaad innovations are not scalable innovations, but it will try to address the problem at that point of time. But the frugal innovations are something which will really help you to scale. So there are different innovations happen. In fact, during the COVID vaccine time, Bharat Biotech played a very important role. Similarly, there is a Six Sigma process related thing which has been driven by the GE, which really driven the change in the entire way of pipelining the things and change the overall process landscape. That's a process-driven innovation. And Veritas, which has really brought in the new types of storage. It is a little older. Today, if you're trying to ask me, it's a flash memories, which is really replacing the disk-based storage. There are a lot of leaders who are coming into the market. Salesforce were instrumental in bringing the software as a service and completely changed the model of licensing to the subscription model. 3M, which has really brought in the low-cost UV protective films. When you look into these innovations, they are not one category, multiple categories, but each one has a merit. If you really look at certain innovations are really penetrating into the new markets and disrupting the things, like Uber, Airbnb, Ola, they played a very, very important role in disrupting the entire transportation and hospitality industries. Application innovations really looking at capturing the new markets and improving their experiences. Product innovations like Apple, who would really try to bring new age experience products which really transform. In fact, they have bundled some of the products into the one product which really made the products to go out of the market. That's where the things are coming, right? Where Suraj was mentioning, there are many, many things which will go out of the business, but there are many, many new things which will come into the business. Have an eye on that. The service innovation. Getting into a service area now, when you're trying to talk about Indian exhibition industry, it's all about offering the service. And your service need to be very, very differentiated. Your service need to be little innovative, which can help you to reach and create an impact. So companies are focusing on driving the service level innovation and also focusing on ground level operations, which is really making a bigger change. Likewise, you can see there are a lot of innovations in the area of experience space. And today, one of the speakers was trying to talk about live streaming, which was not possible earlier, but now it is possible because of the adoption of the 5G, because of the adoption of the edge computing, which has really made this live streaming as a kind of a channel for you to tap in. While the physical event is happening here, can we look at the possibility of reaching out to the audience or the possible stakeholders in the other parts of the geography where they can see and take the benefit of this real-time live streaming? That way you reach and create much bigger impact. And you'll be able to ride on that particular technology to achieve that. Likewise, you see a lot of technology innovations are also driving the change. Now, having understand, these innovations are all driven with a purpose. Any purpose-driven innovation will lead you to the innovation excellence and improve your business value. And it will help you to capture the value and also create value for your stakeholders. So look at the purpose-driven innovations as a channel to ride upon. Now, I want to do this, but what is the way to achieve? So if you're really looking into the fourth industrial revolution, there are three key elements which is playing an important role. The first thing is general purpose technologies are becoming very, very popular. The second influencing factor, you see there is a convergence of the digital technologies which is enabling you to focus upon the new models which is getting adopted. The third thing which we see is there is a shift of linear to the exponential growth driven by the innovation. Collectively, when you try to see this change, it is triggering the fourth industrial revolution to be accepted by all the industry segments. As I say, this particular convergence is not only driven by the science, but it is also driven and influenced by the external factors, economical factors, which is really making the things like you see about the mobile acceptance is widely reached. The societal factors, the behavior of the society is influencing the technology to change, and the technology is also influencing the society to change. That's where you see this gamification technology playing a very important role. Metaverse as a concept is really gaining attention and traction across the industries. A lot of virtual stores are getting opened. The society behavior is changing, and as Prajani mentioned about before COVID, during COVID, after COVID, in fact, there are many use case scenarios evolved because of the COVID, and a lot of innovations were resulted because of the COVID, which were not thought about earlier. And furthermore, you also need to see that the political landscape, ethical aspects, and technology dimensions also trigger these particular changes. The convergence of these particular technologies will really drive the change and also drive the future of business. So when you really look into the future of business, any future of business requires you need to be a futurist. And you need to start looking at how future will evolve over the period of time. What are the factors which is going to influence? What are the factors which is going to look at the overall change? You should be very, very quick in sensing, adapting, and also responding to the change and adapting to the change. The third and important thing is you should have these levers in mind which can make a bigger impact. Like you need to have a digital DNA as an enabler which will drive that particular change. You need to create a kind of an augmented experience which can drive that particular change. Now, that is enough? No. You need to have an ability to drive this digital DNA enablers. I will get into each of this particular segment little more in detail, which gives you that kind of a perspective. And that requires an innovation framework for the future. Now, when I say that this future thinking is all about sensing, you need to understand what I need to sense, how I need to organize myself, and how I need to manage my situations. So sense means is all about seeing about the future and looking and adapting about what are the ecosystem players within your extended and enhanced world, and also balancing yourself in that particular area to look out. Second is about rehearse. The third is about ability to adapt to the change. Now, let's look into the small thing that all these things are possible when you have a shift in your mindset. So first important thing is you need to have the levers which is going to generate that next generation experiences. And that is where you see today virtual reality change to augmented reality. Now it is changing to the mixed reality to the metaverse world. It is trying to bring a new perspective and direction. Second important thing is about generating the next generation productivity. That's where the AI-based analytics or artificial intelligence or you talk about robotics playing a very important role. And creating a digital DNA in our function. And this digital DNA in our function will really drive that enablement to create emerging platforms which will really transform the overall society landscape. That's a mind shift change. The important thing is look into this particular digital DNA. Having a purpose-driven innovation is one of the important DNA element which will have the impact. Second important thing, building that relationships across the ecosystem players will help you to enrich and expand. The third, ability to provide that lean capabilities, autonomous capabilities is important. That's where the 5G and edge coming into the action, where you have an opportunity to make that systems to be more intelligent, behave like human-like responses can be given out. And focusing on ability to adapt and create a very efficient and effective models which can really drive upon that kind of changes. And most important thing is you need to be inward insight and also have the outlook foresight, which will really drive your innovation to the next level. Likewise, there are these DNA elements really powered by your creativity and the kind of a models which you try to lively change. These enablers are driven by the change in the structure. In fact, if you see that organization structures need to be evolved, you cannot live in the traditional organization structures if you want to tap into the future of your business. You need to see what are the new roles are emerging. In fact, in TCS, when I'm trying to say, we did not had any chief innovation officer before me. This was the first time they carved out a chief innovation officer for my unit, and they told you need to focus on the innovation which will drive the change and create a bigger impact about the business. So changing that structure will provide you the ability to collaborate and also to understand the overall ecosystem play, which can make a bigger impact in the drive. And it is very important that you should start looking into the different levels of engagement and which can make this integrations much possible. So let's look into every business what you try to drive, you need to have the ability to provide the business outcomes. If the business outcomes are not available, you will always have a challenge. So focus on how you connect these particular dots. Focus on how you try to generate this particular linking. Let's say, for an instance, next generation productivity when I'm trying to look at. It's all about cognitive automation which we are trying to leverage. You might have heard about artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning techniques, and robotic techniques playing an important role. And second important area, you focus on the kind of a productivity levers, like how you can reimagine your entire supply chain ecosystem and automate that entire functions. Smart warehouses are really getting evolved in that entire ecosystem play. And looking into the automation of your knowledge work so that you will be able to leverage all the analytical power to understand. In fact, this participation which is happening here also, you can analyze the feedback and improve for the future so that you can really drive the things. And also use this robotic technologies, sometimes humanoids, sometimes digital twins, which will provide that differentiated experience and also provide you the ability. In fact, we heard in the consumer market segment that India is riding to 3 in 2036, that is a GDP growth. But manufacturing is one of the industry which need to really grow if you really wanted to improve your GDP. So digital twins, smart warehouses, or creating an intelligent infrastructure which can help you to develop that manufacturing environment will be the key. And having this advanced robotics investments can make a big difference. So let's take one small example. Today, many industries are growing because of the mergers, acquisitions they are playing. They are able to spot the real startups which is making a bigger impact, and also look into the divestitures so they can expand their portfolio of services. So if you really wanted to connect these particular dots, you see this entire ecosystem, like, I don't know whether you're able to see it clearly. I'll read it for you. It's MAD, mergers, acquisitions, and divestitures, finance and shared services, customer experience, office transformation, execution, supply chain as a service, next generation experience transformation, digital integration, and enterprise agility. They are all connected together. It's a digital DNA which is trying to connect these particular dots and making a bigger impact. Let me help you understand if you're really looking into the mergers and acquisition landscape. And we'll run through this particular framework of see, rehearse, and adapt for the mergers acquisitions. How innovation can play a critical role here, and how this particular thing can drive the important change in building your strategy, tactical approach, and operational execution in this. So if you typically look at any kind of an industry when you're trying to look at, the strategy is to really see the potential nature of the kind of a overall value propositions because of the acquisition which is coming in. You need to see and spot these things, and you should model those things so that you have an ability to see the outcomes in the operations when you try to generate. You should also have an understanding about the overall ecosystem play, and you need to come out with the different use cases which will help you understand how this ecosystem can create a new outcomes of the business. And when you do that, you have an opportunity to see that design, experiment, and see the outcome. And continuous iteration of that particular space will help you to really look into the overall responses what it could generate. And this is very important to build that kind of overall strategic framework which will help you to reach to that particular level of thought. Now, once you have that ability to spot how these acquisitions are coming in, how you need to merge, you need to start rehearsing these particular scenarios. When you start rehearsing these particular scenarios, modeling these particular scenarios, understanding the conversion of these particular scenarios, you will see that how the experimentations can drive the full outcomes. So it could be a simulation-based experiments or real-time experiments driven by the innovation. And in each of this, today you see bigger companies like Facebook or Twitter or even Elon Musk driven things, or Microsoft, Amazon. You take many companies, they are growing exponentially because of the acquisitions they have obtained, because they don't want to build all capabilities in-house. If someone has built that capability, it is better to buy that capability, acquire that capability, ingest that capability, link it up so that your new revenue models can be created, new business models can be created. So understanding that piece of acquisitions and experimenting on that and looking at the new revenue models is very, very critical and important. And when you look at that, you have an understanding how technology can be deployed, evaluated, and see the final outcomes, which will be the key differentiators for yourself. And third important thing in the mergers and acquisition is how do you adapt to the new situations? There are companies like, I don't know whether you heard about these companies, Danaher and Forte. These are very, very prominent companies. They grow non-linearly only through the acquisition. Every year they try to acquire one or two companies. They acquire companies from the life sciences, they acquire companies from the utilities, they acquire companies from the oil and gas. They go buy left and right and try to link it up together and create a value-added services to their customers. So they have an overall ecosystem play which will link to the citizen-centric services in different areas of business. And establishing that kind of a digital DNA in your ecosystem can play a very important role in building that kind of a change. So digital DNA is one of the important characteristics where we have seen the different levers playing an important role. The second important area where you can see is how you embed these key enablers into the overall organization, which can transform the change. The third important area where you see is about how you create a holistic digital platform which can provide that kind of an experience. The fourth is about establishing kind of a systems of engagement where you can start connecting, understanding, getting the feedback, and innovating the overall experiences by simulating it and getting back into the production is also a key play. The final thing is how you try to leverage this entire understanding of the data, utilize your cognitive models, that is intelligent AI models, which will help you to understand, dig deep into overall pulse of the customer, understand differentiated offerings, and roll out those particular new offerings into the play. So the future of business is all about understanding and creating a model which will really trigger profit and for a purpose-driven growth. And when you see, rehearse, and adapt, your goal is to create profit. Your goal is to create growth with a purpose. So that is a most important area what you need to really look at, which will really trigger how you manage these sources of integration and also probe in, proactively take the feedback and link it up to see that new emerging innovations do happen. So if you do not take the feedback, if you do not have the conflict of ideas, innovations does not happen in the organization. Remember, it's important as part of the research that you need to pump in money to create ideas out. But once you have the ecosystem play, it's all about you put your ideas into execution, your money will be out. That's the nature of the business. That's the nature of the innovation, which will help you to excel in the entire journey. So what is the next steps? How do you drive the change? So next step is to understand how you try to reimagine the future and continuously develop that culture of awareness, culture of innovation which will drive the collaboration, culture of innovation which drive the integration across the different systems together. So it's important that you have a view of this futuristic view which will help you to construct that kind of overall understanding about the execution models. And having that kind of a thought will really drive the change under which you are trying to operate and look at. I wanted to bring your attention to the Jeffrey Moore's four-zone model. Very, very interesting model when any kind of an organization is really looking at. If you feel that your organization need to double your revenue, the focus is to drive the growth and transformation journey. Try to disrupt your own business. If you're not going to disrupt your own business, someone else will come and disrupt. That's where we have seen the Kodak cameras went out of the business when they did not ride upon the digital wave. And they did not accept that digital cameras will be ruling the world. So transforming would be one of the important horizon what you need to really look at. Second important thing is looking into the performance zone. Your revenues can really multiply when you try to improve the experience, improve the performance, improve the overall way you want to look into the new marketplace and new services. That's where you try to sustain. That's where you try to compete. And the entire top level, what you try to look at, the transformation zone is all about a blue ocean thinking, what we call blue ocean strategy, if you've heard about it. And performance zone is all about the red ocean thinking and red ocean strategy, which will be more technology driven. Transformation zone is more business driven. Coming down in the bottom part of the quadrant, where is the enabling investments and driving the change, is about the productivity. You try to do some automation, incremental automations, incremental changes, which is only providing the piecemeal approaches to make a satisfied customer, delight the customer at that instant of time, but that does not give you the scale. It only try to give you the kind of a satisfaction at that instant. The fourth is put your investments for the future. That's where the incubation comes in. This horizon is very, very critical because you really don't know where you are trying to head, but you know that if your investments are in the right direction, and if you are open for failures, and your innovation can help you to go into the new marketplaces. We heard one of the speakers say that you should be open, the fear of failure should not be there. You should be embracing the failure, but look out for the option to create new revenue streams. That's where the incubation zones are playing a very important role, which is incubating new technologies, incubating new business models, and trying to experiment with the market to see how does that create a non-linear revenue growth for the organizations. This four-zone model is all about creating a thought and innovation culture in the organization and put your appropriate buckets into that revenue. so that you have that R&D function driving that particular change. Having said that, I just want to bring your attention of what we do in TCS. So TCS, we have a very, very important agile innovation cloud as a thing. Just thought sharing this kind of a concept here, which will really help you. So we start out with our customers creating a claim app. I'll try to come back to the claim app a little later. So claim app is a construct which will give you a 4-quadrant view where you bucket your ideas, and that will be sitting as an input to select or do the ideations in that particular zone of thought. It will help you to create a culture of foresight and insight about different work from the customer segment. And we use the design thinking as a concept to validate that ideas and try to see that culture of empathy is taken into the account. But once we have the funnel of ideas, it's important that you need to filter that. You need to evaluate and look into the market alignment, business alignment, technology feasibility. Once you start evaluating these things, you start understanding which ideas will be. So this is an overall framework which will helping us to establish a governance which does not kill the innovation but embrace the innovation. This is an overall framework which is giving us an oversight and futuristic direction and helping our customers in that space. And that's where you see that new ideas, new solutions are continuously emerging with a greater focus and greater thought. And this is a Clayton Christensen. If you are asking me who is the father of innovation, he's a person. Unfortunately, he has passed away in this particular year. Clayton Christensen, he was part of our TCS board, who gave us this kind of a concept about an innovation portfolio framework, and it is named after him, ClayMap. And on the x-axis, you see it's all about customer markets, where we try to focus on the new and adjacent marketplace. And the right-hand side, you see the core and existing ones. And the y-axis, if you look at it, it's all about the business models and the capabilities, what you want to bring in. New and radical versus you want to enhance or the incremental improvements. The first quadrant, what we try to look at is we try to look into the possibilities of improving the productivity. That's what we see in the Jeffrey Mood model also, where we see how the core functions can be really helping for futuristic or adjacent scenarios. They are all technology focused. The second quadrant is all about experimentation based. How you try to experiment on the available mainstream technologies to see how your outcomes can be enabled better, so the new capabilities or new models can be generated. The third quadrant at the bottom is about looking at the adjacent marketplace. You can see Apple moved into the retail. Reliance Jio moved into the communication service provider backbone infrastructure. They are into retail, so they are looking into the adjacent marketplaces. Banking sector moving into the insurance. So there are many, many sectors playing a very important role, looking into the adjacent markets and trying to go in. And this is completely business focused. Fourth quadrant is all about futuristic in nature, research oriented. You really don't know what would be the outcome, but you want to experiment. Metaverse could be one of the concepts. There's a lot of traction, but you really don't know the business models available in that space fully. Partially, yes. So you look into the overall new capabilities which will really drive the change for the future. That's where your business focused blue ocean strategy comes in, tapping into the unknown markets, looking into the uncomfortable areas and trying to see how can I create a new revenue opportunities in that particular space. This framework and this claim app will be the initial starting point for any particular area. It means if you are doing an ideation, bucket your ideas into these 4 quadrants, accordingly invest, you will be able to excel in your innovation journey and make a remarkable impact in the overall space of thought. That's one of the areas. So I want to say that today, when you are future focused, there are many, many industries who are really riding upon the technology changes, transforming the technology and making a tremendous impact and shaking up the market. These game changers are driving the future of retail, future of healthcare, future of shopping, future of health, future of different services, futuristic trends. Look into each and every particular logo which I have given or name which I have given, they are future oriented. They are continuously reinventing themselves. They are continuously disrupting their own business models. They're continuously looking out for the new business opportunities, continuously investing in the research and innovation, which is making them more relevant in today's world, which is making them more popular because of the technology transformations, business transformations they're continuously adapting. I want to see our Indian Exhibition Industry Associate members to look into this future marketplace and try to see if you can also bring your customers into this area who can ride upon this with the right innovation journey. So finally, just trying to touch upon people who think differently will be playing a very, very important role. We have these great stalwarts, icons, few leaders who were optimistic to bring the change, who carried like action-oriented mentality to drive the change, who need to be equipped with the like-minded people to drive innovation, and understanding to deal with the uncertainty and embracing the creativity with intelligence is also very, very critical. When you are looking at the innovation, your ability to take risks is very, very critical and important. Set your bars high and continuously beat your benchmarks, beat your own benchmarks. Realize that you have an unlimited potential to explore and continuously innovate and make a big, big difference which can help you to dream for the future. So with one statement which Albert Einstein stated, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. So think differently. Thinking differently can really embrace your wisdom, help you to emerge in the transformative world, driving the innovation. So with that closing note, I thank you for IEIA to give me the opportunity to speak and share my thoughts on the Innovating to Excel and provide you the framework for the innovation of the future. I am open for the questions. I just try to optimize my time window so that we can catch up for the subsequent sessions. Thank you.
So Bala, what a great finale to our IIA Open Seminar 2022. With your permission, if you would like to guide the association into a workshop where you could help us innovate in how we run the association, this would be a very welcome move.
Sure, we can plan for that.
With your permission, we will be doing this soon. We'll call Bala to Delhi for a closed-door session and let him help us innovate how the association should run. And the clay model, if we can do that, why not?
Yeah, certainly.
We would like to do your felicitation. Can I request Himanshu Chitnis to come on stage?
Suresh, you also join? Thank you, sir.